All right. What's up, good people? You know what I'm saying? Welcome to Boston Vibes TV. We want to know today, we want to know, with the climate of the world and how everything is going with racial injustice, with police brutality and everything going on. We want to know, why do boxers seem to take a back seat in using their platform to speak on social justice, when we know Muhammad Ali is the greatest for inside the ring and outside the ring, standing up for his people and taking stances socially, regardless of the consequences, even being locked up and, when he was drafted to the war that he didn't believe in. Why do boxers now, they seem a lot more reluctant to step up and speak and use their platform, more so than say basketball players or, football players or players in other sports? You want to take that?
So particularly when we were thinking about the question, it's more geared towards American fighters, because I think in recent weeks we've seen Vladimir Klitschko
right
put on social media. We've seen Anthony Joshua, and I will give credit to Mayweather for paying for George Floyd's funeral. But as far
and Wilder did speak out also, which he's been outspoken.
Wilder's been vocal, but more often than not, when it comes to issues that matter, you see fighters, particularly in this country, whether it's wherever you want to look at it, if UFC fan, but particularly boxing, where we focus on. It's interesting when you look at it, because Ali was he's become an icon, not just for what he did in the ring, but for his stance and his ability to convey what he felt in his heart, as far as and being a pillar in the African American community.
Yes.
It's odd to me, because you look at a lot of fighters and they remain apolitical. I don't know whether it's because and this is, and I'm going to take it to a different just kind of area, with just comes with the sport of boxing and the worldwide recognition that it gets. So in America, boxing is taking a back seat. The popularity is down, as opposed to UK, Mexico. It's a big sport here. We produce big stars, but it's bigger in a lot of other countries. So those fighters have more of a platform and have more of an influence. And there may be more pressure because of the influence they carry. In America, it's particularly like a few fighters, because you might get a fighter that will speak out and people are like, who? Who's that? I remember in the very beginnings with Errol Spence, man, people just walking by and didn't know who he was. But also, too, the background of the fighters. If you look at a lot of fighters from a lot of different countries, a lot of them have state-sponsored boxing. So these fighters aren't necessarily coming from impoverished backgrounds where it's something that, I had to fight just to make it, is they're actually taken care of. And so there's a responsibility they have, because they've been afforded so much, as opposed to American. Really, man, it's a individual enterprise, and a lot of guys that are pushed towards boxing are usually less fortunate, as opposed to a lot of Eastern European fighters who, when it comes to the Olympics, they're state-sponsored fighters, man. Russia's behind them, China, they're fighters. There's a boxing apparatus in America that we don't have, that promotes that promotes other fighters in other countries and gives them a different background and more of a voice, and more of a, they're looked at more so as heroes in their country, as opposed to what boxers are today. Even though you look at a guy like Floyd Mayweather, he remains relatively apolitical. It has something to do with that, but I also think that a lot of fighters don't feel comfortable because they don't want to mess up their money. And
there you go.
I think that's unfortunate. And that probably has just as much to do with it as it has to do with fighters, particular knowledge of a subject or status in society. So It's unfortunate because you look at so many times that, Mayweather, he is who he is. He's money makes. So when it comes to an issue, he shows, he'll show you the money, but he'll never really articulate or be a leader when it comes to that. And that's unfortunate with somebody with his kind of cachet in the sport of boxing.
Also, in his defense, he's not the most articulate, man. And I'm not acting like I'm, the most myself. But we seen him, when he's talking about his investments in the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we seen how pandemic whooped his ass. The word pandemic, So, but I do respect that he's paid the money for George Floyd's funeral, and people, and even me. A lot of times I question his motives and why he do stuff. Sometimes I think it's, to put himself in the limelight, which is unfortunate, just because, because you've been the biggest star in boxing, money made, and sometimes I think sometimes he missed that, and he'll cling on to some, but that ain't I can't speak on what's in this man's heart, and that's it's dope, and I think it don't hurt anybody, it benefits the family.
Yeah.
He put his money where his mouth is, so just sometimes I want him to be a lot vocal and speak on things and use his influence, because sometimes that goes far also. But either way it goes, salute to Mayweather, man, for that.
Yeah, and I really I wish that boxers took more upon themselves to do that. And what's deafening is the silence of the boxing community.
Listen, I saw something that said your silence is the loudest thing that I've heard. Your silence, real shit. You got to watch when certain things happen and affect certain people, or when you go through some person in life, the people that don't say any damn thing that's supposed to be close to you, that don't speak or say anything to reach out to see how you doing. That you better pay attention to that. It's something to pay attention to, the silence, not just what people say, but who don't say any damn thing. So I really pay attention to all that.
And not just looking at the American fighters, because, I could come up with a myriad of excuses, their standing in the sports world or their, marketability. They depend on bringing people in the stance of being apolitical, not saying anything offensive, just being a fighter benefits you most.
Right.
But I will say, man, it's incredibly disappointing knowing that, and this is the funny thing about boxing. Boxing is a tribal sport. When I say tribal, I mean you see a guy, because it's international. You're not going for a team. You're usually going for a guy that represents your area, whether it was Tarver coming out of Tampa, Florida, or just Roy Jones being out of Florida. Or if you look at Manny Pacquiao, by and large, he has flocks and legions of Filipino fans. The whole Philippines was behind. So it's a sport where you're supposed to fly your flag, and it's really a unifying sport in the sense that, after it's said and done, countries are going to war. It's like, hey, we love our guy, we respect, your guy, but we're cheering, for a victory. And it's great that, like when you guys were in Vegas for the Fear fight, the UK fans came out, no tension, no nothing. They came to see their guy, and they showed up. And so, as international as boxing is, it's unfortunate that the only three voices that we really hear, and I guess we can put Mayweather, so I'll say four, but the really only voices we hear are Vladimir Klitschko, who's retired, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder.
And he was first. He was first. He in a whole other damn country. You understand what I'm saying? And he's not. And he's not black. You know what I'm saying? That's like, whoa. And I definitely respect him for that.
And so for Mike Tyson, I love Mike, but of course he's one that's very careful with what he says at this point, because he hasn't been the poster boy of being some leader or somebody who's just that articulate and can be a model citizen, but there's too many fighters. There's too much boxing history and legacy alive still for the boxing world to be this silent. So that's my take.
JD, what you got, brother? How you feel about this?
Man, overall, I agree with a lot of the points you all said, and I'll touch on one thing that I think is the key thing that kind of Jay mentioned. And I think, honestly, I think we have a number of fighters who are willing to speak out, but I feel like right now in America, boxing doesn't have that platform. It's unfair to put it all on Mayweather's shoulders, but to be honest, if you're talking about a boxer in America right now who probably has a platform to reach everyone, it's probably Floyd Mayweather. And outside of Floyd, I really can't, and even Jay just mentioned somebody like a Tyson, he holds enough clout, but I agree, that Tyson would be hesitant, to not maybe, rub certain people the wrong way. And when you look at his history, he probably feels like he'd be an easy target, if he were to come out and be the, lead the forefront on speaking out due to his history. So I think we got a number of fighters who are in their own communities taking part and saying things. But man, my view is I just think that we don't have any American boxers who are at that level of having a platform in America that if they say something, everybody's going to listen or it's going to make top headline news.
Right.
Just like with Mayweather. Mayweather actually didn't even make a statement on the paying for the funeral. I think it was Leonard Ellerby who just maybe mentioned it to somebody, and then boom, that spread like wildfire across all news networks that he was paying for George Floyd's funeral. So, not many fighters have that Mayweather clout like that to really make noise immediately, when they make a move.
Right.
I did mention something when I said there's enough boxing legacy alive. I mean, you have Hitman Hearns, you have Sugar Ray Leonard, you still have Marvin Hagler. You got, you have enough boxing legacy alive and well for the entire boxing world to remain this silent, to not try to.
There's no excuse, man. It ain't no excuse for it.
Many of the boxers that are around in the 80s that are alive, they lived through that Ali era. They know, they have an exemplar for that. They just, for whatever reason, whether it's platform, whether it's just, a matter of, hey, that's just not what we do anymore. That boxing is, it's not boxing's lane to be at the forefront. And it's unfortunate because it's, it should be a personal accountability for this. Just like with this show we're doing, whether it's 5 million or 5 people watching, we felt we pointed to start the show off with this because this is something that how insensitive and just oblivious to the world we have to be to just come in here and particularly talk about, what's the next fight, because there's a lot of things that affect us personally that we go through and just a
lot of people want to cheer with you. A lot of people want to cheer with you, and they don't really give a damn about you in sports in general. You know what I'm saying? And this shit is global, bro. They bombed the damn U.S. embassy in Greece. You understand what I'm saying? They firebombed that shit, bro. Like this shit is touching everybody. I seen one of the most outspoken people I've seen. Some of the most outspoken people I've seen. What my man name is? He was in a Star Wars movie. The brother that's in the Star Wars movie. He in the UK.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man, he been going Rambo about this shit. Anthony Joshua just spoke for maybe 30, 40 minutes. He got the leg brace on, man. And he is exposing himself to the world that he got an injury right now. He's out there, the Black Lives Matter protest, and he spoke for maybe 30, 40 minutes. And they got 24,000. I'm sure it's a lot more now. They got people trying to get him out of certain ballots. You know what I'm saying? In the boxing fighter of the year or athlete of the year, like it's crazy, and that's why a lot of people I think are they sitting back and they don't want, especially like you say Mike Tyson. You got even Mayweather. You got certain people because how about George Floyd? He dead right now. R.I.P. George Floyd. The first thing they try to do, they want to discredit and go back to talk about a criminal history. You got misdemeanor. You got whatever charge. You ran a damn stop sign when you was in the damn when you was 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? They want to bring up all type of petty stuff and not talk about the issue. They don't want to talk about the issue, and then they want to discredit you. And that's why I see why Mike Tyson might be a little reluctant. It's people that they have. That's why when Joshua spoke today, he even spoke about that how he wasn't always on the up and up. He's a heavyweight champion of the world. I wasn't always on the up and up. He put that out there. You know what I'm saying? So don't talk about somebody that nobody's perfect. We all have flaws. We all have a history. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like he went in and threw that out there, and I thought that was pretty powerful that he did that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody have their right. Everybody has a right. Bruh, let me go to court and let the judge sentence me, man. Don't sentence me to death. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't view. People get mad at Black Lives Matter, but they don't get mad at Blue Lives Matter, and they don't get mad at All Lives Matter. So it makes me think. So is the word black is what you got a problem with?
But here's the thing about it, right? And it's true. And to Mayweather's defense, man, if he comes out and speaks,
they're gonna talk about he beat his girlfriend. He did. Yeah. They're gonna come out and say, and that's
So I understand why he hasn't, but it's just one of those things that there's a lot of athletes who don't have that background. But what you were shouldn't have anything to do with who you're trying to be and who you are now. But I get people's reluctancy for speaking out. So
you can't give them that power though, man. You can't give them that. That's why they do it. To make you reluctant to speak out on.
They don't want to see that side of the argument anyway. So they're looking for any straw man argument to kind of discredit it. So
you're disrespecting the flag.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a whole can of worms right there, man.
And people know that. They just want to shout you down so you can be quiet. Same way, and it is a double standard, because you see just on Fox News last week, people were in New Orleans saying F Drew Brees, but the same woman who was saying he's a decent guy was telling LeBron and KD to shut up and dribble.
Yes. Shut up and dribble. Oh, he has the right to speak his mind. He has the right. I saw that.
And so, I was on that F Drew Brees train a long time ago when he first made his comments back in 2000, I think it was 16. So, but, I guess he's changed his worldview, so I guess he can, change, but I guess nobody else can.
We all been miseducated by the system. Honestly, come on, man. Christopher Columbus discovered America. The Pilgrims, man. Come on, man. Look at that. It's just when you know the real deal of what happened. And the good thing about stuff like this is it peels layers off that onion, man. We're in the information age. If you really want to know if you really want to study history, it's right there. Like I learn something every time something like this happens. And I ain't going to speak on what I just learned. When we talking about the flag and the military and the troops and all of that. Man,
but that's the most disappointing thing about boxing. One of the things that I will always love about boxing, and it has its advantage over UFC, is how steep it is to major events in history, especially when it comes to racial events, racial tensions, whether it's Jack Johnson being pardoned, Muhammad Ali. You look at it, and there's always boxing was there. If you look at Joe Louis being drafted into the army, him going and actually serving his country, but then later, after he beat Max Schmeling and was a symbol for beating Nazism, you see Coca-Cola give Max Schmeling this Coca-Cola deal, while the IRS tried to essentially, they did bankrupt Joe Louis, and who was a national hero. So boxing has its roots in this country and in its history, and for it to be so silent during this time I'm really disappointed in my sport. But that's all I got to say.
To this day.
I will say though, man, I think the silence is a little bit, disappointing. But again, man, I think I'm proud of what Joshua did. over in the UK, man.
Man,
I salute him big time. I salute
big time.
Vladimir
Real
Klitschko for what he said. But even when you look at somebody like a Joshua, the UK has propped this man up for what, 5 years now. I think he's been with Under Armour over in the UK for some years now. I mean, I think before he was even really Anthony Joshua as we know him today, I think he had endorsements over in the UK. So I think a lot of it, I mean, I honestly feel like a lot of, especially black fighters, are speaking up and trying to be out there with the community. I just feel like, honestly, as America, we don't have any fighters on that platform, kind of like we had back in history when you're talking about the days of Ali, and even in some of our older fighters, you're talking about, the presence that most people have now is on social media.
Right.
It's not really a true news outlet. If you even think about, touching on the Drew Brees situation, nobody's heard LeBron James make an official verbal statement, but he immediately made a quick statement on Twitter, boom, like wildfire. That's him speaking out, against insensitive comments. So I think a lot of it really has to do with, boxing. We don't have that platform like we once had overall as a sport.
And
go ahead.
And like, and to be fair, man, because it takes a very special person, to be like Ali was special.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was amazing. He was an amazing mind. You know what I'm saying? He was an amazing voice. Like, he was so sharp, and he was able to take his thoughts and turn them into words. Like, just the way he talked, he made you understand. He had that it factor, man. And he was. I mean, that was an amazing guy, Ali. That's why I was just sitting watching him when he was talking about the war. Why he wasn't gonna go fight in the war. I don't have a problem with them Viet Cong. What did he say? The Viet Cong? He said,
ain't never did nothing to me. They ain't did nothing to me.
They never did nothing to me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go over there and I want to harm them, and then I come back to this country, and I get spit on, and I get, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. And just like I salute to Whoopi Goldberg, man. She went off. She gave Drew Brees a history lesson on the black men in the military, man. That
Mm-hmm.
her grandfather and them that fought in World War I and World War II came back, got whipped, got drugged, got sprayed with water hose. You know what I'm saying? Can't vote. You got to drink from this pissy water fountain. I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously, bro. It's like, it's so crazy. People are oblivious to history. If anybody look at history, it will be painful, man. It's painful to look at history. You know what I'm saying? And
painful for some.
Well, listen. If you are bleeding heart, if you anybody that's a decent person and you just ain't rotten it, and you know that if you just not a racist, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not about black. It's not about black or white. You know what I'm saying? This is about everybody versus racism. That's what it should be about. But if you're racist, or because one thing about it, you gotta. What happened?
Or just plain insensitive.
Nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna even say insensitive, bro. You have to be a whole.
There's people who legitimately think, okay, well, I'm not racist. I didn't do any of that stuff. What does it matter? So that's what I mean by insensitive.
I get what you're saying, bro. But me personally, I just feel like, bro, because my heart bleeds for everybody. My heart bleeds for. I look at everybody as a human. I don't have to ask people, man. Do you think black people are 2/3 of a damn human being like you were taught? Because I know that was taught. Do you really believe that shit? If you really believe that makes sense. But if you think, you know what I'm saying, that if you believe all lives matter for real, you should be raised in hell. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't just be me. I'm gonna be pissed off when I see a police shoot somebody or kill somebody on camera, plant evidence on them. You know what I'm saying? It's been too many times. You got somebody begging for their life, don't have any weapons. How many times we got to see this? It's on camera and there's no reaction. It's like more people reacted. Look at the Kaepernick knee versus the cop knee. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Trump talked about Kaepernick knee, called the NFL players son of a bitches. I fired them son of a bitch. Like, I'm waiting to hear him talk about the cop knee. I'm waiting to hear that. So it's crazy, bro. It's sad, it's crazy, and that's our reality, man. So, that's where we at. But what we need to figure out is where we gonna go from here. You know what I'm saying? We got to educate ourselves. We got to empower ourselves, empower our communities. You know what I'm saying? And raise our kids. Bro, it's crazy. I don't really even know what the answer is, man. But we definitely have to do better. You know what I'm saying? But it starts with education and empowering ourselves, man. We got to lift ourselves up. We got to treat each other better too. We definitely got to treat each other better. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to talk about